You're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Amy, and I'm Randy Hansen. In World News headlines today, UK court rules WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange can be extradited to Sweden, and Occupy protesters call for a citywide general strike in Oakland. In New York City, Occupy supporters join anti-police brutality activists in stop and frisk protest. And in New Mexico, ACLU helps to defend Occupy demonstrators' rights to protest. A Minnesota woman credits Occupy protesters for delaying eviction from her foreclosed home. And in London, St. Paul's Cathedral drops plans to evict encamped protesters. And Israeli leaders rallying support to attack Iran. And hacker attack cuts off phone and web service for Palestinians, and Human Rights Watch condemned Turkey for imprisoning pro-Kurdish intellectuals. An office of French satirical newspaper burned down day after mocking Islamic faith. An ammonia leak forces evacuation of California nuke plant. And out of Japan, crippled nuclear plants particles may be result of recent nuclear fission. And Georgia militia members arrested for plotting to attack government officials. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's first world news story, London's High Court has ruled WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange should be extradited from the United Kingdom to Sweden to face questioning over alleged sex crimes. Swedish authorities want to question Assange over accusations of rape and sexual assault made by two women. Assange's lawyer have argued the Swedish demand is legally flawed and that the sex was consensual. They are now considering an appeal to Supreme Court of the United Kingdom and European Court of Human Rights. Julian Assange spoke outside the courtroom after the ruling, and he said, I have not been charged with any crime in any country. Despite this, the European arrest warrant is so restrictive that it prevents UK courts from considering the fact of a case, as judges have made clear here today. We will be considering steps in the days ahead. Full judgment will be available on SwedenVersusAssange.com. No doubt there will be many attempts made to try and spin these proceedings as they occur, but they are merely technical. So please go to that site if you want to know what's going on in this case. Occupy Wall Street protesters in Oakland are preparing for a citywide general strike that will include marches, picketing outside banks, and attempts to shut down the nation's fifth largest port. Staffs of 2 Oakland elementary schools and small high school have decided to close their campuses for the day due to the strike. City officials also have agreed to allow non-essential government workers to use vacation and personal and furlough days to participate in the strike. Meanwhile, the city's police union has slammed Oakland Mayor Jean Kwan for her handling of the protests. In an open letter the police union wrote, "Is the city's intention to have city employees on both sides of a skirmish line?" Anyway, Occupy protesters in New York City joined anti-police brutality activists in the Brooklyn neighborhood of Brownsville Tuesday to demonstrate against the controversial police tactic known as stop and frisk, which allows the officers to detain and search citizens with little or no reason. Critics argue the tactic, which produces few arrests, creates a sense of institutionalized harassment in poor communities and communities of color. Christina Gonzalez is an Occupy Wall Street protester who joined the demonstration, and she said, "These are the communities that are affected. You know, a community like mine in far Rockaway communities, like up in Harlem and in communities like in Brooklyn and certain places in Queens. Like these are the places where we really need to be. There are where the problems are. These are where we should be mobilizing more people to come out. And Occupy Wall Street has given a movement like this a chance so that we can come out and network and get more people and raise awareness to people who are like, hey, corporate greed is bad. Oh, but wait a moment. There's stopping people in the streets for absolutely no reason? Okay, I wasn't part of that. I had no idea. Now I know, and now I'm here. So that's the beautiful thing about it. It's just bringing everybody together." Well, that was her statement. 27 participants in the demonstration have been arrested after engaging in a deliberate act of civil disobedience by blocking the entrance of the office of the New York City Police Department's 73rd Precinct, where stop and frisk rates are the highest in the city. And in New Mexico, the right of Occupy protesters to demonstrate has been upheld after an intervention by the American Civil Liberties Union, or the ACLU. On Tuesday, the University of New Mexico renewed the demonstrators' right to protest at Yale Park, where more than a dozen were arrested last week after the encampment's original permit expired. And a woman in Minnesota has accredited the support of Occupy protesters in allowing her more time to move out of her foreclosed home. Ruth Merman, a small business owner who was not received a paycheck in 3 years, approached Occupy Minnesota protesters to help her secure 2 more weeks to vacate her home. Shortly thereafter, U.S. Bank and GMAC contacted her repeatedly to settle the dispute. And Occupy protesters in London won a major victory Tuesday when St. Paul's Cathedral and City of London dropped plans to evict the protest encampment from church grounds. The Right Reverend Michael Cocklow is the canon pastor at St. Paul's, and he said, "The chapter has today decided not to go ahead with any legal actions against the protesters that surround the cathedral. Sometimes we make mistakes. We then have the humility to say that, and we set out on another path. But I don't think any member of chapter would be ashamed of saying that today." Several religious leaders in Britain criticized St. Paul for even considering evicting the protesters. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz is reporting Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Ehud Barak are trying to muster a majority in the cabinet in favor of military action against Iran. Netanyahu and Barak have reportedly persuaded Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman to support such an attack. Earlier yesterday, Israel reported test-fired a ballistic missile. Israel announced on Tuesday plans to build 2,000 new settlement homes and to freeze the transfer of tax revenues owed to the Palestinian Authority. One Israeli official admitted the measures were agreed to as punishment after the vote in UNESCO. On Monday, the United Nations cultural body voted to grant Palestine full membership. Most of the new settlement homes will be built in occupied East Jerusalem, an area Palestinians claim as the capital of their future state. Phone and internet services in the West Bank and Gaza have been largely cut off after all Palestinian IP addresses came under a sustained hacker attack. Palestinian officials said the sites were attacked in an organized manner using mirror servers. It is unclear who is behind the attack, but some Palestinian officials blamed Israel. And Human Rights Watch is condemning a Turkish court decision to imprison a publisher and political science professor as part of a crackdown on members of the pro-Kurdish Peace and Democracy Party. Since October 27th, at least 50 people have been arrested for having links to Kurdish organizations. Over the past 2.5 years, thousands of people associated with the Peace and Democracy Party, or relatively political circles, have been charged for alleged links to outlawed Kurdish groups. And the office of the French satirical newspaper has been burned down after one day after the paper published a special Arab Spring edition mocking the Islamic faith. The cover of the newspaper showed a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad stating, 100 lashes if you don't die of laughter. Muhammad was also listed as a guest editor of the newspaper. And in news from Japan, the operator of the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant revealed it had found radioactive particles in a reactor which could be a result of recent nuclear fission. Utility officials said gas from inside the Fukushima plant number 2 reactor indicated the presence of radioactive xenon. The discovery marks a possible setback in efforts to bring the plant to a safe cold shutdown this year. In San Onofre nuclear power plant in San Clemente, California, was partially evacuated on Tuesday due to a non-radioactive ammonia leak. 4 members of a Georgia militia were arrested on Tuesday for plotting to attack government officials with explosives and biotoxin resin. Prosecutors called the man wanted to attack U.S. Justice Department officials, federal judges, and Internal Revenue Service agents. And that's it for World News Today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. You guessed it, it's us. GVTV News.
Soundcheck Music Center, the rock and roll connection. We have guitars, amps, drum equipment, sound accessories, lessons, and repairs. We are located at 671 Maltman Drive, Grass Valley. 530-272-7236, open 7 days a week.
Something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter, and the pictures in the blotter not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. Grass Valley Police Department on Monday, 8:33 a.m. Caller from 400 block of Idaho Maryland Road reported 2 spray-painted pictures on the side of a building. And at 10:05 a.m., a caller from Nevada City Highway reported 2 men drinking beer and smoking. 10:32 a.m., juvenile was cited on suspicion of disturbing the peace in the 100 block of Park Avenue. And 12:01 p.m., caller from Race Street reported a physical fight involving about 20 juveniles. One was cited on suspicion of battery. At 12:05 p.m., caller from Brunswick Road reported a vehicle hit a pedestrian. At 1:43 p.m., caller from 400 block of Sutton Way reported that the door had been shattered. At 1:58 p.m., caller from 2000 block of Ridge Road reported the theft of a wallet and sunglasses from a vehicle. At 2:50 p.m., a woman from 300 block of First Street reported a man threatened her with a stick. 3 p.m., caller from 100 block of Mill Street reported a woman stole a bracelet. And 3:39 p.m., a caller from Nevada City Highway and Gates Place reported a man screaming and fighting with a chain link fence. 5:53 p.m., a woman was cited on suspicion of shoplifting 100 block of West McKnight Way. And 7:44 p.m., caller from Condon Park reported people smoking marijuana. 8:14 p.m., caller from Condon Park reported fireworks. And 8:17 p.m., caller from Mill Street reported theft of a backpack from a vehicle. And 8:31 p.m., caller from 500 block of Glenwood Road reported hearing 4 or 5 gunshots. 11:45 p.m., caller from 200 block West Main Street reported a large man causing a disturbance. He was arrested on suspicion of being drunk in public and having an outstanding warrant. And Tuesday, 12:34 a.m., caller from 100 block of Mill Street reported a man and a woman refusing to leave. 1:06 a.m., caller from 100 block of Dorsey Drive reported a woman was out of control and vandalizing an apartment. She was leaving. Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Monday, 9:32 a.m., caller from 10,000 block of Spenceville Road reported a physical fight. A safe was seized for safekeeping that contained an unknown number of guns. 9:50 a.m., a woman from 11,000 block of Rustic Road reported a neighbor hit her husband during a property issue dispute. He did not need medical attention. 11:20 a.m., caller from Gracie Road reported theft of medication from a residence. At 12:01 p.m., a woman from Kidder Avenue and Maryland Drive reported vandalism to a vehicle. 1:37 p.m., caller reported theft of $600 while on vacation in Hawaii. And at 1:53 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Julie Place reported trespassers with horse riders vandalizing a gate. 2:06 p.m., woman from 10,000 block of Walker Drive reported her mail had been taken out of the mailbox and ripped up. At 3:09 p.m., a man from 12,000 block of Willow Valley Road reported finding a small incendiary device in his mailbox. At 4:15 p.m., a man from Chattering Pines Road reported that a person against whom he had restraining order hired an escort from Sacramento to come to his house, but he turned her away. The person is now demanding payment and threatening him. 5:38 p.m., a caller from Live Oak Lane reported a neighbor was firing an automatic weapon. At 10:09 p.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Little Valley Road reported multiple gunshots. It was quiet when deputies arrived. At 10:10 p.m., a man was arrested in 16,000 block of Cooper Road on suspicion of spousal abuse. At 10:36 p.m., a woman from Pine Hill Drive reported her son was grabbing the phone away from her and throwing items in the residence. No physical fight was found to have occurred. The juvenile was given a ride to a relative's house. 10:57 p.m., caller from Walker Drive and Kawima Lane reported a fight with possible drunken people. Person was going inside. And Tuesday, 1:09 a.m., caller from 19,000 block of Cooper Road reported multiple drunk people possibly in a traffic collision, now trying to flip a vehicle over. No one was located. 3:35 a.m., a caller from Pascali Road reported a party with a live band still playing. They were admonished. And Nevada City Police Department on Monday, 12:57 p.m., a caller from Hellingway reported a woman looking inside vehicles. She was gone when officers arrived. And 4:37 p.m., a caller from 100 block on Nevada Street reported hearing what sounded like a cannon. And 7:41 p.m., a caller from North Pines and Broad Street reported finding a lost 2-year-old child in a tiger suit. They could not be located. At 9:49 p.m., a woman from North Pine and Broad Streets reported someone put Nicorette gum in her kids' candy while they were trick-or-treating. At 10:36 p.m., a caller from 200 block of Commercial Street reported a woman yelling that someone stole her money. She was given a ride to her hotel. And Tuesday, 2:31 a.m., a woman from 400 block of Spring Street reported someone hit several cars and fled. And that's it for the Police Blotter today. Now another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, getting in the Halloween spirit. And Wilting School Garden rejuvenated. And Hospitality House sets November 19th open house at new facility. In our first local story, written by Liz Keller of the Union, they've been a pair of hillbillies, Caesar, Augustus, and Mark Anthony, and even a pope and a priest. This year, Halloween revelers throughout Grass Valley were treated to a pair of circa 1930 gangsters, complete with Tommy guns tooling around town in a 1934 four-door sedan. But these costume characters are actually on a mission as reserve officers for the Grass Valley Police Department. Reserve Sergeant Mike Walsh, Sr., and Reserve Officer Larry Aguilar have dressed up for their Halloween patrol since the early 1970s. It was an impromptu thing, recalled Aguilar. We dressed up so we could be out and out and about with the kids, making sure all the youngsters were safe. We're just out there blending in with everybody as a backup in case officers need assistance. The two reserve officers hit a number of areas popular for trick-or-treaters, such as Cypress Hill and Morgan Ranch, as well as the haunted house in Condon Park. And here they are pictured here, actually. People just loved it, Walsh said. Everybody knows who we are. The parents appreciate it. Every year we try to outdo ourselves, but we pick different costume themes, Aguilar said. We go out and do bar checks, we mingle with the kids, and in the meantime we're watching out. We might see someone get hurt or older kids get a little rowdy grabbing the little kids' candy, and we're right there. Gives the police department a good reputation as down-to-earth people with a sense of humor, Walsh added. Hospitality House, Western Nevada County's only emergency shelter for the homeless, will host an open house Saturday, November 19th in the public to view its new building, which closed escrow October 13th. The 6,500 square foot facility at 1262 Sutton Way in Grass Valley will now become the organization's permanent home, providing year-round overnight sleeping quarters for up to 54 guests. The open house will include tours, refreshments, and opportunities to learn about supporting the center as a volunteer or donor. Sign-up sheets will allow participants to pledge either labor or monetary assistance. The building, formerly owned by the Veritas Church, will be renovated and will require approximately $250,000 in donated labor, materials, and financing to complete structural work. The goal is to have the new building occupied in 5 or 6 months, according to Cindy Maple, Executive Director. The new space at the northern end of Sutton Way in Glenbrook Basin will be named Utah's Place after one of the organization's founders and an advocate for the homeless, Bruce Utah Phillips. Currently a nomadic shelter that transports guests to host churches for dinners and overnight shelters, Hospitality House will soon be able to provide expanded services, meals, and sleeping quarters in one facility. The new building will also include a dining hall, shower, laundry facilities, and a commercial kitchen. It will provide space for counseling with social service workers and accommodations for group meetings and life skills trainings. I'm so excited about the new space, which will provide expanded services for our guests, Maple added. We want to encourage our supporters in the faith community to continue to help us by providing meals and their incredible financial and emotional support. The open house runs from 3 to 7 p.m. For more information on the event or to donate labor and materials, you can call 530-271-7144 or go to hospitalityhouseshelter.org. And a short story by Christopher Rosacker of the Union. Plant growth is a frequent theme in education. Teachers are given apples, students are sometimes compared to seeds, and educators often talk of roots, nutrients, and soil as analogies when discussing student development. But in the future campus of Nevada City Charter School, a kindergarten through 8th grade homeschool and classroom hybrid institution, students are growing their own garden and learning lessons every step of the way. Gardening is really a good way for kids to learn about life cycles of plants and the elements it takes for them to grow, said Stan Miller, Associate Superintendent of the Nevada County Superintendents of Schools. It can be a jumping off point for a lot of different lessons. It's a great opportunity for kids to learn. Gardens on school campuses aren't a new idea, as the awareness of the youth obesity epidemic garners more attention. Schools nationwide are finding their lunch menus under scrutiny. Weather permitting, many are turning to on-campus gardens. Almost every school in the county has one now, Miller said. We're all moving towards kids eating better and being healthier. Nevada City Charter, which is within the Nevada City School District, will move into the old Gold Run School campus over the upcoming winter break and begin classes there at the beginning of 2012. The whole process of where our food comes from is really important, and I think most kids have lost touch with that, said Sarah Baker, a Nevada City resident whose daughter, Fiona Baker, is a Nevada City Charter student. Food gets stuffed in a package in the supermarket. If kids don't have this kind of gardening experience, they don't make the mental leap of where it comes from and what it really takes to bring it to the table. Gold Run School, which opened in 1990, closed its doors on Zion Street earlier this year amid an ever-tightening district budget and dwindling enrollment. Remaining students were folded into Deer Creek Elementary. Consolidating the two schools created a K-4 program at Deer Creek's existing site, located near Seven Hills Middle School. Miller was Gold Run's first principal. He recalls literally watching the school garden grow, with the majority of the responsibility for its survival going to Don Fowler, Gold Run's custodian. He even built a greenhouse that was originally contracted for $25,000, but Fowler built it for only $2,500, thanks to soliciting donated materials. But with Fowler's retirement a few years back, and when the school doors closed this year, the garden went unattended. In the last 3 weeks, Nevada City Charter's kindergarten through second grade students and their parents, like Baker, chipped in to dust off the greenhouse, weed, rake, prune, compost, put nutrients into the soil, and plant bulbs. Well, it's a great program. That's it for local news today. GVTV News would like to thank Associated Press, Reuters, Amy Goodman, the Union, and others for the sourcing of our news, and you for watching. Don't forget, we broadcast 3 times a day on public access TV, NCTV that is, Comcast Cable Channel 11, and Suddenlink Channel 16 in Truckee and Alta Sierra, 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 7:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. And random Saturday and other times, check the website schedule. We are streamed daily on NevadaCountyTV.org and video on demand there. Also, our website, GVTV.org, and Rural Counties Television Network.ning.com. We also post to Facebook, YouTube, Blip.tv, and a free video podcast on iTunes. You can get us on smartphones, PSP, and many other handheld devices and RSS feed. Talk to you tomorrow. Should be Friday.